Good, happy Monday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Good Evening, New Hampshire. It is April 6th, 2020. Let's begin this evening edition of Good Evening, New Hampshire. First up, we're going to begin with your local news. In local news, New Hampshire hotels, Airbnbs, told to end non-essential accommodations to slow COVID-19 spread. Rooms still available for essential workers and domestic violence victims. Hotels and short-term rentals in New Hampshire must suspend all accommodations for non-essential purposes, Governor Chris Sununu announced Monday. Sununu said the restrictions are another step in trying to slow the spread of COVID-19, particularly from other states. The restrictions include rentals from services such as Airbnbs, but does not include campgrounds. We can't emphasize it enough, Sununu said. People are healthier in your own home and your home state. We look forward to welcome you back into New Hampshire when this public crisis is over. Sununu said hotel rooms and rentals can still be available for essential workers, victims of domestic violence, and people who need to quarantine away from their families. Those who are on vacation now can stay in their rooms until the scheduled end of their stays, Sununu said. The governor said he had been approached by hotel operators who urged him to take this action, so he doesn't expect there to be an issue with compliance. The new restrictions were announced as state health officials said a total of 715 people in the state have tested positive for COVID-19. Dr. Benjamin Chan, the state epidemiologist, said there has been an average of about 50 new cases each day over the past week. 9 people have died of complications related to the virus in New Hampshire, Chan said. Health officials said about 26% of positive cases are in the healthcare workers. Officials said they are aiming to expedite testing for healthcare workers, and Sununu said the state has pursued about 300,000 pieces of personal protective equipment for such workers. And now let's take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire information. What you need to know. There are 715 number of people in New Hampshire who have tested positive for COVID-19. 1,003,749 number of people worldwide who have tested positive. 9 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 103 number of people hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 10,689 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. This map of New Hampshire shows the cases of COVID-19 in towns and cities. Nashua, 66 cases. This graph, new cases each day in New Hampshire. In the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases. In the orange, new hospitalizations. And in the red are the deaths. And again, common symptoms: fever, cough, and difficult breathing, how it spreads, and prevention tips. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into national news. In your national news, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson in intensive care for coronavirus. Let's take a listen to that video from MSNBC.
We're going to interrupt things here for a second because we've received breaking news from the UK where British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been moved to intensive care. We talked earlier in our coverage about his hospitalization because of coronavirus.
And joining us now from London once again is NBC News Chief Global Correspondent Bill Neely. Bill, we were just on a couple minutes ago, and as of then, we were wondering what sort of tests that Boris Johnson was getting. Now he's in the ICU. What is 10 Downing saying?
Yeah, so a statement just within the last few minutes from 10 Downing Street saying that Boris Johnson's condition has worsened and he has been moved to the intensive care unit at St Thomas's Hospital, which is just across the river from Westminster and from where he was until just a few days ago at number 11 Downing Street in isolation in his flat with what he said then was simply a high fever. Well, it's clearly a lot worse than that. He was moved at around 7 o'clock local time, so maybe 1 hour and 20 minutes ago, and the statement just very briefly saying his condition has worsened. Now, we don't know what that means, but if he's in intensive care, almost certainly that would suggest that he has some kind of breathing difficulty and that he may have to be put, if there is one available, on a ventilator. He had tests earlier today. Again, we didn't know what those tests were, but medical experts and sources here have suggested that they would be tests for things like a blood test, a test for any other infection, and of course, testing his heart and his lungs. But a pretty serious development, and the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, who is effectively his deputy, is now the person who will take charge of all government business. And if Mr. Johnson is in intensive care now, usually patients stay in ICUs in the UK for around 7 days, if not more. So I don't think we will see Mr. Johnson again taking charge, as it were, of government business for some time to come. Now, he's got no underlying health conditions. He is and has been for many years overweight. He's made that quite public, but otherwise was quite healthy. I mean, he's well known as a person who likes to go out and run and cycle, but it is again well known that people who are overweight and who have coronavirus are more susceptible to being taken into intensive care. So once again, just within the last few minutes, a Downing Street spokesman saying that the Prime Minister's condition has worsened, and around 7 o'clock, roughly an hour and a half ago, he was taken into intensive care and is being monitored very closely indeed, guys.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into business news. In business news, let's see how your stock market closed for this Monday evening. And here's a look at how the stock market closed for this Monday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green, went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green, went up. S&P 500 closed in the green, went up. Gold closed in the green, went up. Oil closed in the green, went up. US 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the red and went down. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Stock features fell slightly following sharp rebound on hopes pandemic is stabilizing. Stocks fell slightly in overnight trading on Monday following a steep rebound in the previous session as investors grew more hopeful that the peak in the coronavirus cases could be reached soon. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into weather and traffic. Your weather right now is sunny, 56 degrees. And your weather for tonight, some clouds, low 36 degrees, winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And now let's take a look at your evening traffic this evening. And here's a look at that evening traffic map for all of you this Monday evening. As you can see, we're seeing a lot of green roadways and some yellow and red spots as well. Henniker, smooth sailing. Hopkinton, smooth sailing. Concord, Pembroke, and Bow, smooth sailing. Chichester, smooth sailing with some slow going traffic. Epsom, smooth sailing. Northwood, smooth sailing with some medium paced traffic. Lee, smooth sailing with some medium paced traffic. Durham, smooth sailing with some medium paced traffic. Rochester, smooth sailing. Somersworth, smooth sailing. Dover, smooth sailing. Portsmouth, smooth sailing. Maine, all smooth sailing. And delays of 5 minutes, and delays increasing on Ocean Boulevard northbound in Fairhill Marina. Average speed 15 miles per hour. Rye, smooth sailing, and delays of 5 minutes on Ocean Boulevard southbound in Rye Beach. Average speed 20 miles per hour. Northampton, smooth sailing. Hampton, smooth sailing. Seabrook, smooth sailing into the border, Massachusetts on 101. All smooth sailing on 101, but a little slow and medium paced traffic near the Epping area on 101. Manchester and Hooks area, all smooth sailing. Manchester Airport, smooth sailing. Bedford, smooth sailing with a little spot of medium-paced traffic. Milford, all smooth sailing. And Amherst, all smooth sailing. Merrimack, smooth sailing. Nashua, smooth sailing into the border of Massachusetts. Nashua, Milford, all smooth sailing with some medium-paced traffic on the Nashua side. Manchester, Londonderry, Windham, Salem into the border of Massachusetts, all smooth sailing. And delays of 4 minutes, and delays easing on Mammoth Road northbound between New Hampshire 128 Mammoth Road and New Hampshire 111 Haverhill Road. Average speed 15 miles per hour. And delays of several minutes on delays increasing on Mammoth Road northbound in North Pelham. Average speed 15 miles per hour. And road closed due to a serious accident. Motorcycle involved on Zeno Hill Road, both ways from Acadia Lane and Brian Wood Drive. And that is a look at your traffic this evening. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into New Hampshire Life. And in your New Hampshire Life segment this evening, ice out declared on Lake Winnipesaukee. MS Mount Washington can now travel to all 5 lake ports. It's official. It's springtime on Lake Winnipesaukee. Ice out was declared at 8:59 a.m. Monday by Dave Emerson of Emerson Aviation. And here's a photo. Take a look. Finally, no more ice on the big lake. That is a good sign that spring is on its way. The traditional sign of spring means the MS Mount Washington can travel to all 5 of her ports in Wares Beach, Wolfboro, Alton Bay, Meredith, and Center Harbor. Emerson said he noticed some dead ice on Meredith Bay and a chunk of ice at the mouth of Center Harbor on Sunday. When the winds picked up and the sun rose, the ice broke up and melted, Emerson said. Emerson's family has been declaring ice out for over 40 years, in tradition that spans more than 130 years. Ice out has been declared as early as March 18th in 2016 and as late as May 12th in 1888. The average ice out date is April 19th, while most ice out declarations have come on April 19th come on April 24th, and last year's ice out date was on April 24th. The 3 earliest ice out dates have all come in last 11 years. 2016, 2012, and 2010. And here is another photo of the big lake of Lake Winnipesaukee. Very beautiful. And we are happy that the sign of spring is slowly coming. Milford family adds inflatable decorations for each day of staying at home. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
An inflatable a day keeping the worries at bay. A Milford couple self-isolating with their kids during remote learning is putting up a new blow-up decoration each day they're at home. Look at the collection so far. They're up to 21. Now people have started donating decorations to them so they don't run out.
You know, these are really unprecedented times, and there's even a lot of adults that are struggling with what's going on in the world. And that's why it's really important that we take time to create fun and lighthearted moments so that we can help our kids preserve their childhood.
And get this, the family even received one from an old friend in North Carolina via Amazon. So they're still coming in.
Okay, and there you go. Very cool. Lifts everyone's spirit. And Salem Falls pottery. Let's take a look at that video and learn about some pottery right now.
Salmon Falls Stoneware of Dover has been producing beautiful and functional works of art for nearly 40 years.
When I make these mugs, on a good day, I can do more than 250. My record is 400.
Andy Cochran opened Salmon Falls Stoneware in Dover in 1986. He was in high school, actually, when he first began making and selling pottery, earning some extra cash selling to college students at UNH.
Every person that had a dorm room to decorate for 2 or 3 weeks, I'd sell out of my hanging planters.
And then Andy went mobile, got some fancy wheels, and he made a name for himself.
Once I got my antique truck, I could drive into town, park it, and every hour I had to move to a different parking space so I wouldn't get a ticket. And that, on the side of it, it said, Andy the Potter.
Encouraged by his mom, Andy began researching different ways to make pottery, including the salt glaze technique.
Salt glaze is a process where we take rock salt in a little sandwich bag and I throw it in the kiln. And I put in 20 pounds of salt for every 500 pots. And it pulls the silica to the surface, the glass, and it sweats on the pot, and it makes a really strong, shiny, durable surface.
He eventually opened a store, and when a decorator designed this blueberry basket design, well, it changed everything.
The next person that came in saw what she had painted before it was even fired and said, we'll buy every one of those you can make. They had a retail store in Portsmouth, and within 2 years, we had 44 people. And it was all because of her blueberry basket design.
The number of products in Andy's warehouse is staggering. Salmon Falls has just 2 decorators. They hand paint each and every mug, pot, and gravy boat. Andy recently resurrected one of the most popular dishes, the lasagna pan. Once a challenge to produce, he discovered a mold that could shape the dish perfectly. Now it's the most requested item, and they're making them non-stop. Perhaps one of the secrets of Salmon Falls' success is their clay. They blend their own formula, and the recipe is top secret. 1,200 pounds a batch goes through these machines, coming out like this, a 100-pound log.
Secret formula of clay right here. We don't know the secret.
Salmon Falls Stoneware recently began teaching pottery. It didn't take long for classes to fill up.
If you go down any further, you're going to start hitting the wheelhead.
Yep. Patty Oswald said taking a pottery class has always been on her bucket list.
I've been coming here for 30 years, buying things. So yeah, very familiar. Just never had a class. Been great. And to know you made it yourself, that's what's awesome.
Having never taken a pottery class, I thought I'd give it a whirl.
Lots of water on your hands. This is the fun part. Oops. And you're going to cup it, overlap your fingers at the top, and bring your palms together. And squeeze hard.
Just think, perhaps I could turn this mound of clay into something like this. I started to get the hang of it, or so I thought. Instructor Linda Varney made it look so easy.
That's what can happen.
I'm flunking pottery 101.
But in the end, my clay pot had a few mishaps. Not to lesson number 2 someday. But with Linda's instruction, we ended up with this.
Look at that. I wonder what it will be.
Now, the next step would be to bring the finished item to one of the decorators, each stroke of color bringing it to life.
This is Blue Pennsylvania. We have all different patterns.
When the pottery is painted, it comes to the kiln, fired up to about 2180 degrees. This is the final step before the pottery hits the shelves.
It takes about a day to load a kiln, roughly 600 to 800 pieces. And this one just fired, and we're taking the pots out now. Each pattern and color has a certain place in the kiln. Certain colors have to be in certain places in the kiln so they don't melt or come out, blurry. But yeah, it's a long process.
You guys have a lot of this stuff at home?
No.
No?
No. A couple of mugs, chowder bowls, stuff like that. Kitchenware.
Building Salmon Falls Stoneware came as a surprise to the teenager who once sold pottery out of his car. But the creativity and love that goes into every piece has been worth the journey.
I never imagined to have a big company. So I was very lucky to have met the right people at the right time. And they shared the vision of making great pots that everybody could enjoy. So for that, I'm very thankful.
Okay, and there you go. Looks like a good place and a fun place to check out to learn some pottery. And we're gonna switch gears now. We're gonna take a look at your TV guide listing and see what's on TV tonight. And here is what's on TV tonight. On CBS, Wheel of Fortune at 7 p.m., Jeopardy at 7:30 p.m., and then at 8 p.m., The Neighborhood, and then at 8:30 p.m., Bob Hearts. On ABC, on Channel 5, is News Center 5 at 7, Chronicle at 7:30, and Civil Celebrity Family Feud. On Fox, ET tonight, TMZ at 7:30, and then 911. On Channel 7, Inside Edition at 7 p.m., 7:30, Extra, and then Family Feud at 8 p.m. and at 8:30 p.m. On NBC News, Access Hollywood at 7:30 p.m., and then The Voice at 8 p.m. On 9, New Hampshire Chronicle, and then at 7:30, 25 Words or Less, and then Celebrity Family Feud. 9 p.m. on CBS, All Rise, and then at 10 p.m., The Bowl. And then at 9 p.m. on Channel 5, ABC, Celebrity Family Feud, and then at 10 p.m., Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? On Fox, Fox presents iHeart Living Room Concert at 9 p.m., and then at 10 p.m., Boston 25 News. On Channel 7, 7 News at 7, at 9, and at 10. On NBC, The Voice at 9 p.m., and then Mindfest at 10 p.m. And that is a look at what's on TV tonight. And now let's switch gears and go into entertainment news. In entertainment news tonight, Selena Gomez reveals she's bipolar in candid chat with Miley Cyrus. Let's take a listen to that video from Entertainment Tonight.
After years of going through a lot of different things, I realized that I was bipolar.
Selena Gomez is opening up about her mental health like never before. On Friday, during an appearance on Miley Cyrus's Instagram live show, Bright Minded, Selena revealed that she's bipolar, something she says she learned after a recent visit to McLean Hospital in Boston.
After years of going through a lot of different things, I realized that I was bipolar.
Educating herself on the mental health disorder has helped her cope with the diagnosis.
I wanted to know everything about it, and it took the fear away.
The singer also shared that she's received treatment for other issues as well.
I had gone to treatment a few times for anxiety and for depression and for other stuff that I had been struggling with.
She noted that she's using some of the things she learned in therapy to help her cope during this challenging time of social distancing due to the coronavirus pandemic.
I definitely just tried to use the tools I've used when I've been in therapy, which is amazing. I've been writing a lot. I think that's been helping me process what's been going on.
Selena and Miley had a little bit of a technical difficulty, and Selena's camera froze. But you can still hear what Selena had to say about how we should all be kind to each other and to ourselves as we battle through this together.
This is where we test each other. Like, how are we going to treat each other? It can be a time to be gentle with ourselves, like you said, taking breaks from all the noise, even taking breaks from social media for a second and just, being outside or being with my babies outside and just breathing in.
And Selena says she's leaning on some of her close friends.
And I think talking through what it is you're feeling is extremely helpful. But sometimes I have to feel it, Miley. Sometimes I got to cry it out and I've got to release it and just take a deep breath and then remind myself, go back to my tools, which is, okay, where is this coming from? I understand I'm a big empath, so I feel so much of what the world is feeling. So maybe I need to take a step back from that or whatever it is, but also just being there for other people actually helps me too.
This totally echoes what Selena told E.T. back in 2017.
I think that for me, I'm really big on vulnerability. I think people are really scared to be honest with themselves, and strength is looked upon as, oh, I'm strong, I don't need anything, I can handle everything, and that's just not the truth. And I think that's the message I want. I want people to know that every single life is valuable, that there are people who are willing to be there for them.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Monday evening edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Thank you for watching this Monday evening edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another edition of Good Evening New Hampshire. Good night and bye, everyone.